Hello and welcome to Gair and Karunatillake Lesson 3, further reading number 2 at page 41. As usual, I will read it through first and then we will start to analyze it in detail. And those of you who want to follow it, you can follow it either in the book or in the annotated text that I've made, the analytical text. I did post a version of this with my apologies. I forgot to proofread it and it went up with so many errors. Anyway, there's a revised version done today. I'm doing this on the 7th of June 2021. A revised version has been posted up on the Google Drive today, so that's now publicly available. Sorry, I should have shared my screen for you then. This is the version, the analytical version that I've posted in corrected form today, 7th June 2021. So I'll unshare screen now, so just try and concentrate on the pure sound of what's being said, and then we'll go into the detailed analysis of it. Incidentally, you should find this fairly easy to follow. This reading number 2 is not especially difficult, but not only that, but it very closely follows the pattern of further reading 1 on page 11. Now I know of no other Dhamma, no other single thing monks, that so obsesses the mind of a man, and so on. In fact, numbers 1 and 2 both follow that pattern. So we'll start going now to reading number 2, page 41 in the printed book. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam akammaniyam hoti yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave abhavitam akammaniyam hotiti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam kammaniyam hoti yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave bhavitam kammaniyam hoti iti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yamevam abhavitam mahato anathaya samvattati yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave abhavitam mahato anathaya samvattati iti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam mahato athaya samvattati yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave bhavitam mahato athaya samvattati iti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yamevam abhavitam appatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattati yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave abhavitam appatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattati iti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam patu bhutam mahato athaya samvattati yathayidam bhikkhave chittam bhikkhave bhavitam patu bhutam mahato athaya samvattati iti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam abahulikatam mahato anathaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkave chittam. Chittam bhikkave abhavitam abbahulikatam mahato anathaya samvattatiti. Naham bhikkave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam bahulikatam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkave chittam. Chittam bhikkave bhavitam bahulikatam mahato athaya samvattatiti. Naham bhikkave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam abbahulikatam dukkhadivaham hoti yathaidam bhikkave chittam. Chittam bhikkave abhavitam abbahulikatam dukkhadivaham hotiti. Now this verb samanupassami, translated by Kelly as perceived, it's more than just that. As we know, the passami, I see, with the verbal prefix anu, anupassati, seeing along. It's the anu here, cognate with the Greek ana, along, in conformity with, like an analog, analogical, suggests like a sustained action here. So continuing to look at, it's like a sustained contemplation, not just seeing it, but a sustained looking, a contemplation of it. And the prefix some suggests here, and it's the one that's cognate with the Latin co and con, meaning with, basically, but it also has the meaning of a completed action, of bringing something to a conclusion. There's been an ongoing activity and has brought to a conclusion. So samanupassami suggests to me that there has been a sustained looking followed by a conclusion that's been reached. So you could almost say conclude, detect or conclude. It's the result of an ongoing effort. So, na samanupassami, I do not conclude. You don't have to put aham in, because of the ami at the end of the verb means I anyway. I conclude. So na samanupassami, I do not conclude. Or having looked at it all, I don't think there's any other. The inclusion of aham here is na aham, not I, it becomes naham by sandhi, is stylistic. And it's really more a question of sonorous sentence balance. He could have said na ekadhamampi samanupassami, but he's making a solemn, important pronouncement, summarizing a lot of sustained mental effort. So you can make a sonorous opening. I do not, O monks, perceive or conclude. Naham bhikkave. It doesn't have any grammatical force. It's more of a stylistic force. So ekadhammam. Dhamma here, it just means a thing or mental state. How is it translated in by Kelly? Another single thing. Yeah, I mean, Dhamma is very often just vague like that. So I do not see another single thing. Dhammam, thing. Ekadhammam, a one thing, single thing. Anyam ekadhammam, be another one thing, another single thing. Anya is other. Now, ekadhammam, eka one, dhamma. And it's put in the accusative, it's the objective of samanupasami, eka dhammam. Eka, meaning one, can be used as a separate word. He could, as correctly, have said, anyam ekam dhammam pi. That would have been equally correct. So you can have either. You can either join it as a compound or use it as a separate word. And the addition of pi here has the force of something like even. So not even one other single thing. It's an emphatic. Just I don't see anything, but not even one other single thing do I see. So this is you emphasize it. Eka dhammam pi. Not one other single thing. Not even another one thing. Yam, which. Now the sentence construction is a bit tricky here. Start off by leaving out the abhavitam, undeveloped. So I do not see another single thing. Yam evam akamaniyam hoti, which hoti is, evam, thus or so, akamaniyam, unworkable, intractable. So in this sentence, the abhavitam is inserted parenthetically. It's as if we're saying in English, I do not detect or conclude the existence of anything which, undeveloped, is as unworkable as the mind, or any single thing which, comma, if left undeveloped, close comma, is as unworkable, unmalleable as the mind. So evam doesn't go with abhavitam. Evam actually qualifies akamaniyam, which is so unworkable. Yatha or yatayidam as the mind. Evam, as we know, means thus or so. Many of the suttas begin evam maya suttam. Thus have I heard, literally, thus by me heard, evam maya suttam. And it often goes in correlation with yatha, as here. So evam akamaniyam yatha chittam. So or as unworkable, evam akamaniyam yatha chittam. So leaving out the abhavitam for the moment, we will say naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupasami yam evam akamaniyam hoti yatha chittam. I do not see that there is any single thing which is as unworkable as the mind. Now fill in that. I do not see any other thing which, undeveloped, or which, if left undeveloped, is as unworkable as the mind. That's why it now becomes naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupasami yam evam abhavitam akamaniyam hoti yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. Just remember there, so it's not so undeveloped, but so unworkable if left undeveloped. It's just a stylistic thing. It makes a slightly awkward, well, perfectly good Pali, very good Pali, but just a little bit difficult to grasp for those who aren't fully in the picture with word order. Now, yatha means as. It can correlate either with tatha, yatha, so as, or very frequently evam yatha. And yatha is frequently followed by idam, literally meaning this, but without actually adding anything. Sometimes it's just tacked onto the end of yatha without any change of meaning. So it would have been equally correct to say Akammani Muhuti Yatha Chittam. Yatayadam just makes for slightly better sentence balance. Now we'll just look at these two key words here, abhavitam and akammaniam. Abhavitam is from the root bhu, to be, present tense bhavati, he, she, or it is, and the causative, meaning to cause to be, to make to be, to bring into being, is formed in a standard way of causatives. Lengthen that a and bhaveti. Sorry. Bhaveti. In Sanskrit, it is bhavayati. The ayati ending is very common, the most common causative ending in Sanskrit, and it regularly becomes ayati, becomes eti in Pali. So the literal meaning is to bring into being, to cause to be. Oops. To cause to be. And in a mental sense or a spiritual sense, it means to develop, to practice, to cultivate, to work on something. You can see how it means that, either to bring it into being or to enhance its being, therefore to cultivate or to develop. For example, we talk about one's spiritual practice as one's bhavana, and that's a word that we often see in the Pali scriptures. Your bhavana, your practice, and good qualities. One is told to do the bhavana, bhaveta, in the imperative plural, bhaveta, develop these qualities. And the past participle, past participle is bhavita. That means developed, cultivated, and you can negate that by putting our usual a on, means abhavita, uncultivated, undeveloped, not worked on. So here we're talking about the undeveloped, uncultivated mind. Now, kammaniyam, it's from our root kri, meaning to do or to act, and karma, using Sanskrit now, karma means doing or working. And in Sanskrit, actually, it's got an N stem, it's usually a karman. And from that stem in Sanskrit, you can make an adjective. So from karman, work, make karmanya, meaning workable, fit for use. You can do something with it. In fact, in Sanskrit, it has more the meaning of a person who is fit for purpose, karmanya, workable. You can get work out of him, or a thing that's useful. Here in Pali, it's being used as workable in the sense of can be worked on. You can make something of it. As a useful material would be kamaniya, means you can make something out of it useful to work with. So the karmanya then in Sanskrit becomes kamaniya, in Pali. So akamaniya, unworkable, basically means you can't do anything with it. So chittam bhikkhave, going to the second, the last line of this paragraph now. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam, the mind, O monks, uncultivated, undeveloped. Akammaniyam hotiti. is unworkable, can't do anything with it. Now, the opposite side of that same coin appears in the next paragraph. We're now looking at the bottom of page 41. Nahambikove anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam kammaniyam hoti yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. So I do not, O monks, perceive, detect, conclude the existence of any other single thing, anyameka dhammampi, which bhavitam, which, if developed, the if isn't put there, it's just as if we could say, no other single thing which developed will be so workable, malleable. So yam evam kammaniyam hoti, which is so workable or pliable, you make something useful out of it. Yatha or yatayadam bhikkhave chittam, as, O monks, the mind. And then bhavitam is inserted. So reading it, it can be difficult to follow, but hopefully if I say it with the sentence balance, you'll hear it better. Nam bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yamevam bhavitam kammaniyam hoti yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam kammaniyam hoti. Chittam bhikkhave, the mind, O monks, bhavitam, developed, if cultivated, kammaniyam hoti, workable, means you can do something useful with it. Now we can get through the rest of this fairly fast because all of the rest of these sentences follow exactly the pattern of the first two, but with a different word each time, or different word or phrase each time. So, nam bhikkhave anyam eka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam mahato anataya samvattati yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. So I do not, O monks, see that there is any other single thing which so leads, evam samvattati mahato anataya, which so leads to mahato anataya, great loss. Yatha chittam, as the mind. Yathayadam chittam. Yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. And again here, evam goes with mahato anataya, or it even goes with samvattati, which it is so conducive, which, if undeveloped, is so conducive, which, if undeveloped, is evam samvattati mahato anataya, which, if left undeveloped, is so conducive, to great loss. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam mahato anataya samvattati. Samvattati we've had before, just means, it's from the root vrit, meaning to turn or to proceed or go. And samvattati tends to have the meaning of leads towards, or be, result in, be conducive. In fact, conducive, samvattati, a very similar structure to those two words. So you could say which is so conducive to mahato anataya, to great loss, as the abhavitam chittam. This mahato anataya, this is the dative, the ataya, ato, it means a meaning, it also means a goal, it also means wealth or profit. Dative ataya Mahato, same as the genitive and dative, this is the consonantal declension, where the dative and genitive singular end in an O. In Sanskrit, they entered in an ah, which then becomes O in certain circumstances, the mahata. Mahata becomes mahato in certain circumstances, and it becomes mahato always in Pali. Those of you who've looked at the grammar notes on YouTube, I have done a video on this ending ah in Sanskrit, what happens to it in Sanskrit, and how it explains so many words ending in o in Pali. Now to the next, that's the second paragraph now on page 42. Naham bhikkhave anyam eka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. I do not, O monks, see any other single thing which is so conducive, now, which developed is so conducive to great profit or great benefit, yathaidam bhikkhave chittam, as O monks, the mind. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam, the monks, the mind, O monks, bhavitam, developed, if developed, when developed, chittam bhikkhave bhavitam, mahato attaya samvattatiti, is conducive to, leads towards great benefit. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam appatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. This is the same as the one above, but we've got the new word patu bhutam, appatu bhutam. Patu is mostly, possibly even always, used only as a prefix, mostly in words like patu bhavati, to be manifest, patu karoti, to make manifest, patu katam, manifest or made manifest. It means to become visible, manifest, what had been hidden or unmanifest. So I do not see, Naham bhikkhave, I do not, O monks, anyameka dhammampi samanupassami, I do not see any other single thing, yam evam, which so samvattati, which is so conducive, mahato anathaya, to great loss, abhavitam apatu bhutam, insert the if left undeveloped and unmanifested, yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam apatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattatiti. So the mind, O monks, uncultivated, apatu bhutam, not manifested, leads to great disadvantage, unprofit, loss. And now conversely, naham bhikkhave anyam eka dhammampi samupassami yam evam bhavitam patu bhutam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. That's saying the same thing, exactly the opposite way around. I do not see, I know of no other thing which is so conducive to mahato attaya, great benefit, great profit, which, if developed and made manifest, is evam samvattati, so conduces mahato attaya to great profit, yathaidam bhikkhave chittam, as, O monks, of this mind, or as, O monks, of the mind. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam patu bhutam. Mahato ataya samvattatiti. And the next paragraph, again, almost the same, with a difference of, I think, only one word. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammam pisamanupasami yam evam abhavitam abahulikatam mahato anataya samvattati yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. So, bahulikatam. Bahu in the singular means much, in the plural it means many. It can be used either as a singular or as a plural. Bahu and bahula is virtually the same meaning. Bahulikata, much made. There are a number of adjectives which, when compounded with derivatives of bhu to be and krit to make, change the final a to an e. So a bahulikata, made much of. And of course the meaning here is, so literally much made. So you've done a lot of work with it. So bahulikata, so by extension it means exercised. You've worked with it. You've done a lot with it. So the bahulikatam chittam is the unexercised mind. And conversely, in the next paragraph, Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammam pisamanupasami yam evam bhavitam bahulikatam mahato ataya samvattati yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. So I do not, O monks, ekadhammam pisamanupasami, see, detect, discern any other single thing. Yam evam samvattati, which so conduces, mahato ataya, to great profit, benefit, bhavitam bahulikatam, if, when cultivated and exercised, yathayadam bhikkhave chittam, as, O monks, this mind. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammam pisamanupasami yamevam abhavitam abahulikatam dukkadivaham hoti yathayadam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam abahulikatam dukkadivaham hotiti. We've seen in several cases we have to have the root va to carry or to transport. Cognate with ve as in convey, vehicle. So much more frequent than adhivaha is avaha, ava, to carry towards you. If something is sukhavaha or sukhavaha, it means happiness bringing. Dukkavaha or dukkavaha means dukkha bringing. Adhivaha, pretty much the same meaning. So the verb adhivahati, the verbal noun is adhivaha. So if something is dukkha adhivaha, you can use the verbal noun in a compound here. It means dukkha bringing. It conveys, brings you cartloads of dukkha. So dukkha divaha. And it will go on then in the next line that it stops here. That the opposite is sukha divaha, happiness bringing. Good. So that concludes the analysis. And before we wind up this session, I will just read it through slowly once. So I will end screen share. Sorry. Naham bhikkhave अन्यमेकधम्मंपि समनुपस्सामि यमेवम् अभावितम् अकम्मनीयं होति यथैदं भिक्खवे चित्तम् चित्तं भिक्खवे अभावितम् अकम्मनीयं hoti. It's written hoti. I'll leave out the T. It's a little bit distracting. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam kammaniyam hoti yathaidam bhikkhave chittam chittam bhikkhave bhavitam kammaniyam hoti. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam mahato anathaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam mahato anathaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidham bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam mahato athaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam appatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattati yathaidham bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam appatu bhutam mahato anathaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam patu bhutam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam patu bhutam mahato athaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam abahulikatam mahato anathaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam abahulikatam mahato anathaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam bhavitam bahulikatam mahato athaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave bhavitam bahulikatam mahato athaya samvattati. Naham bhikkhave anyam ekadhammampi samanupassami yam evam abhavitam abahulikatam dukkadhivaham hoti yathaidham bhikkhave chittam. Chittam bhikkhave abhavitam abahulikatam dukkadhivaham hoti. And that concludes this video.